Namaste and welcome to this 10 p.m. live show today on the Jaipur Dialogues. And we have Savio here for you. Hi, Savio. How are you?
Namaste. How are you?
I was watching you on Republic, and I think everybody has been very busy with Sushant Singh Rajput. But there's also this little side issue of Bloomsbury and the freedom of expression, the liberal style. So, are you a liberal?
Well, I don't know what you would define as liberal, but if the definition of liberal is what exists in the country right now, then I'm not a
Okay.
liberal.
Okay. That's a very frank confession, and that's pretty good. So you saw what happened. I guess you know all about it, and you being a journalist, of course, you must have been following.
Yes,
And I don't know whether you've written on it in your newspaper, Goa Chronicles, or not.
yes.
But I think last 2 3 days were pretty hectic, and the result of all this was a complete meltdown of the what is called the liberal publishing industry. And suddenly you found a Garuda rising up and taking in all in front of it. So, how do you look at it?
Well, it's about time, Sanjay, to be very honest. I think, Indic Center publishers need to come out in the open, need to come out and start giving opportunities to Indic centric authors. By that, what do I mean? I mean, there has always been in India over the last couple of years authors that have been more centered towards the left or towards the center, and anything to do with India centric focus, anything to do with Hindu culture focus, anything to do with our religious upbringing, anything to do with our Vedic thought, has always been mocked, has always been looked at in a condescending manner, has always been looked at as, oh, this is not so cool. But you know what? The real facts, the real interest is in the wonderful cultural knowledge that has been brought forward by books that are more Indian centric. If there is any inspiration that an individual like me has got over a period of time, is reading books like the Saffron Swords, which is done by Garuda Prakashan itself. Incredible book by Manushi Sinha. Incredible. It actually dwells into a history that we were never ever taught in school. At least the kids and my kids do not know about this history, which is why I got them to read about it. Read The Urban Axles, and another incredible book by Vivek Agnihotri. The point is there are so many wonderful authors. You know, India always was rich in culture. India was always rich in literature. India was always rich in art. We don't need the Westerners or their brands or publishers to tell us whether they can publish a book or not. We don't need that. We have got enough adequate resources in the country to publish a book, to market a book, to promote a book, and to make it a bestseller. So I'm glad that something like this is happening. I am glad that Bloomsbury, India, got a taste of its own medicines when people like you, Sanjay, yourself, have decided to withdraw from having your books published by Bloomsbury, India. Am I right or am I wrong? And that's a bold step. And that's a bold step many authors, many Indian nationalist authors must take, that we don't need a foreign publisher to tell us whether we have the right to publish the truth from our perspective of the truth. Everybody else in the left and the center cabal has the right to publish their version of the truth. But those who are nationalists do not have a right to publish their truths, and they hold the cabal, they hold the controls, and they say, okay, we control the publishing. You know what? Garuda is not the only one. I am also launching a publishing house that will be
Okay.
open to Indian centric writers. The first book that I'm publishing out of this house is called A Cracked Mirror. A Cracked Mirror a look into the sexual abuse cases of the Catholic Church in India. That's the first book that I'm bringing out. The second book I'm bringing out is on Mr. Parikar, who was an icon, will continue to remain an inspiration for millions of Indians around the world and for millions of people who are not Indians. So, you know what? Bloomsbury, all those other foreign publishers that have the right to say we are an international brand, you know what? Take a walk. We will create Indian brands and we will take Indian brands global. You want to try us? Try us out. Because the power of India, the power of Indian centric authors is far more stronger if only they have people to believe in them, only they have people to help them promote and market. That's all. That is all that the foreign publishers have, a good promotion and a good marketing. But you know what? We are not so bad. So we will do a damn good job. And I'm very glad, Sanjay, an author of repute like you, somebody who is an intellectual, had the guts to tell Bloomsbury India, take a hike in simple words. You know, excellent job, Sanjay. And my hats off to you. It takes courage,
Thank you.
it takes conviction, and that is what they require.
Actually, in my case, the decision was even more difficult in the sense that my book was already on release.
Correct.
It was on pre-order. The review copies were out. It had been sent to the reviewers. In fact, the first review has been published today. Jaggi has published a review today.
I'm aware.
And of course, he rightly remarked that the name is rather inelegant, and that thereby also hangs a tale. Because I had suggested many titles, which I think they found a little too hot to their liking. And then they settled for this very sanitized kind of a title, that's nullifying Article 370 and enacting CAA. And you know what? Amazon placed it under the category constitutional law, where it is actually more to do with history than to do with
Correct.
constitutional law. But
Correct.
because of the title, they placed it under constitutional law. You can imagine. But there is also an irony, you know. The irony is that Bloomsbury, India, they were the first multinational to actually break the rank. And I think if you really look at it, the leftists have had their revenge, and they had been looking for that revenge for quite some time because they did not like a multinational like Bloomsbury India to break rank and start inviting and start actually promoting Indic authors, which they had been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. And they have published some damn good titles, including two of my titles on Krishna, Krishna Gopeshwar and Krishna Yogeshwar. And also a lot of other titles. In fact, when they published this book on Yogi, so that really kind of cocked a snook at the establishment. So it is also the establishment's revenge. And to their credit, I must say that the Indian management did try to stand their ground. It's not as if they did not. They did try to stand their ground. After all, taking on a book like Delhi Riots 2020 in itself was a courageous decision. So I don't hold that against the Indian management as much as the basic structural problem that they happen to be a multinational, they happen to be under white men, and they have to carry out the white man's burden ultimately. So that's what did them in. And then I had to take a decision because I had excellent relations with them through and through, and I liked their way of working. But then I told them ultimately, look, I've been writing on a Krishna and I've been conveying his message all the time. The message was that when it comes to Rashtra, then you have to forget about your kul or community. So Rashtra Dharma is always greater than Kul Dharma. So even if I treat you as my community, I have to stand up and I have to be counted for the Rashtra or for the country or for the, the civilization as such. So that was the decision that I had to take. And on hindsight, I am glad that I took that decision. I walked out on them at a very crucial juncture. And some others could not because they were already too far committed. So I'm very glad that I did that. And okay, and then not just that, I was also lucky in the sense that I had an immediate replacement ready. Even if it wasn't ready, I still have walked out. Maybe I would have waited and I would have tried to find someone else. And if I had not found someone else, then maybe I have cooled it for some time. But definitely, I was not going to get it published from Bloomsbury after what they did to this particular book. After all, what is the meaning of freedom of expression if a book can be junked in this manner even before it has been published? Nobody's read it, nobody's reviewed it, and nobody's found anything wrong with it. In fact, the legal team of Bloomsbury India had fully vetted it, and whatever objections or objectionable parts they had found, they had sanitized it out. And in spite of that, there is a diktat that comes from the white man in UK at the instance of another white man called William Dalrymple, who himself is a very questionable brand of author, who is here only to promote what is called Mughlophilia, as writing fictions glorifying the ugly Mughals at the expense of India and at the expense of the Indic narrative. And when I realized that ultimately these people are just adjunct of their white masters, then I had no other option to simply walk out. And that's what I did. And I'm glad I did. Well, I think we just have a loss of connection with Savio, so please just bear with me. We'll try and get him back on. So that is how this whole saga has panned out. Just a minute. I'm trying to get Savio back on. Okay, I believe Savio is back.
My apologies, there was a blackout, so the entire area.
Okay, yes, I thought as much. So I was covering up for you,
Thank
and I
you.
was speaking non-stop till now. So
Now, what happens is sometimes there's a lot of power fluctuation that happens in the south of Goa, and we had an inverter until 4 days ago that itself got blasted. It's part of the power cut. So since we're moving to a new place, we said we'd move the inverter then later.
So I was just, giving the background because I think before you went out, I was telling you that Bloomsbury, India, was the first one to actually uh, break the established code, and it
Correct.
is because of that they probably targeted. So
But you
I
see,
did not.
you see,
Ultimately, it
Sanjay,
is the white man's burden. They are
you,
multinationals. They have to follow their masters, and their masters listen to the other white men. So this is another colonial legacy. You cannot put up with this kind of a colonial legacy anymore.
You see the problem, Sanjay, the intrinsic problem that exists in our country with some people is, as you rightly said, the white sahib syndrome has not changed, with especially in the publishing business. So today, an author like William of City of Joy, you know, can control whatever the outcome is. But who the hell is William? I mean, he wrote a book which was fine. It was great literary in its approach, and I quite liked it. But beyond that, it was a mere book. Who is Arundhati Roy? She wrote a book which won an award, but in my opinion, it was absolute rubbish. I didn't enjoy it one bit. I enjoyed City of Joy. But what did it tell us? It's just like that movie Slumdog Millionaire. Everybody was up in arms and saying, "Wow, great movie! It showed the real India." Boss, the real India is not shit. Okay, there's a lots of parts of India that are pretty good. The culture is very good. The value system is very good. Why don't you show that? No, you want to show Mumbai in the most dirtiest possible way, and you win an Oscar for that. And Anil Kapoor is extremely happy about it, and everybody calls him an international star. And it wins an Oscar. Why? Because they showed shit in Mumbai. That's all. There was no content to that movie. It worked on a great logic, which was the crorepati, the cashing in on crorepati, KBC. That's about it. The point is this: you want to mock Indian authors, you want to mock Indian culture, you want to mock our traditions. That is what they want to kill. That is what they want us to be submissive about. And that is why, when you have people like authors like William of City of Joy, I think you need to just tell them, listen, buddy, we had enough of you. Continue writing. Maybe the white sahib likes you. The brown people, the Indians, we don't like you. Well, we've had it. We've thrown the white sahib out. I'm not being racist, but I really don't care about them. It's as simple as that.
Yes, that's right. And it's not just the publishing industry. I think the situation is with the media overall. And in Goa Chronicle, you have been observing it and you've been writing about it. So I think we also need to look at this, the entire gamut of freedom of expression and all its ramifications, how it actually works in India. I read a beautiful piece written by Gautam Chikkarmane,
I
and
read.
yeah, you read it too.
Yes.
So it says that okay, there's nothing ever good that ever happened in India according to this particular establishment writing. There were
Correct.
no great kings. We never won anything. We never defeated anybody. We never created any great literature. We never created any great music. Everything was given to us by Sufis. And we never even had any language. That was also gifted to us by Mughals. Even culinary skills we got from the Mughals. So anything good that ever happened is attributed to the invaders. And all the great, not just philosophies, all the great science and mathematics and achievements that we had, that is simply rubbished and brushed aside. All the great victories that we had. I mean,
True.
a simple lady like Queen Tarabai had Aurangzeb running helter-skelter for 10 years. Her name is never taken.
Correct.
But some obscure kind of Mughals like, Shah Alam, Aj Dilli Tap Alam. I don't know if you've
Hmm.
heard that. Shah Alam, Aj Dilli
Correct.
Tap Alam. That is the great empire of the Emperor of Universe extends from Delhi to Palam. And
Okay.
such people, such Mughals have pages written for them. The great achievers, the great Vijayanagar Empire is passed off in a few paras. The great Chola Empire, the longest lasting empire, that I think gets maybe half a para. The great empire of Kashmir, the Karakota Empire, has probably gets a sentence. So that's the kind of bias that has permeated this country for as long as one can remember. And then, of course, there have always been attempts to create divisions, create bogus theories, create bogus caste theories. All those things have happened, and all those things, these brown sahibs, who are the inheritor of the Bora sahibs, they're carrying on with it. How long are we going to take it? So I would like you to talk about it, not just in the context of publishing, but also in the context of media overall, and of course, Bollywood.
You know,
You just be speaking
Sanjay,
about
I'm,
Bollywood.
I'm, I'm going to give you a metaphor. Okay. It's going to sound very crude, but if you know me well, it's the most crudest thing that I normally say that makes the most common sense. Okay. So here is what some people in India and abroad would like us to believe, that hey, listen, you got violated and raped by foreign powers, but so what if he raped you? He gave you culture, he gave you clothing, he gave you literature, he gave you music. He only raped you, no, for the last several years, whether it was the Islamic radicals or whether it was the white side. It's only rape. So live with it and appreciate what they have done for you. It is like somebody saying, "Hey, listen, I've raped you. Now you're a prostitute. So every time I come to the harem, I'm going to buy you a gift, but you must appreciate the fact that I put you in the harem." But because that's life. You know what? We've had it, we've seen it, and we don't want to see it anymore. It is time for India to give back, whether it is in the publishing business, whether it is in Bollywood that tends to want to look more outwards and be more West, or whether it is in any business that thinks that we need the foreigner or the white side to tell us how to run India, to run our people towards greatness, towards success. They can take a hike for all I care. We are not rape victims. We are independent, free people living our lives successfully. We have done so for many centuries. Maybe for about 800 odd years, we may have forgotten our roots, but the churning is happening. People are waking up. People like you, people like me, are getting people to be more alive, more awakened, more aware of the truth. And the truth is, Bharat was always supreme. India to the rest of the world might not seem supreme, but Akhand Bharat, which will happen like it was before, as Chanakya had planned, will reign supreme. And Bharat is a thought that penetrates not a geographic location. It is a thought that is into the blood and soul of every son and daughter of the soil of Bharat Mata. And no white person, no Islamic radical can ever take that away from us, because the awakening has started. Sanatan Dharma will prevail and Bharat will prevail. Sanjay, mark my words. We just have to support them. Our Indic writers, our Indic movie makers, our Indic people who want to come up with new ideas, new technologies, new startups. We don't need the foreign funds. We need our Indian companies to reach out and make India better. That's what we require. We don't need the foreign funds. We don't need the white money. We don't need the Islamic money. We've had enough of it.
Very beautifully put. And actually, the signs are all there. Look at the way as soon as the book that Delhi Rise 2020 was put out again by Garuda, I think their servers crashed.
Yeah.
And it's already sold. They said that received 25,000 orders, and they
That's
don't
correct.
know how many books are there, how many copies. So the
Correct.
reasonable guess is that 50,000 pre-orders, and the 50,000 pre-orders, it might be creating a global record, not just an Indian record. Of course, Indian record, I don't think there has ever been any book which has done more than 1,500 pre-orders. But this one has done almost 50,000 copies. 25,000 is the number of orders. And, I've ordered 5. I know Ananda Ranganathan has ordered 10. And there are several people who are ordering many copies. So you can just work it out. They are not even been able to figure out how many copies they have got so far. So that is the kind of support that our people are ready to give if we come out. And I'm glad I
Exactly.
came out.
Exactly, Sanjay. If we come out, if we believe in ourselves, if we realize that we are better than the West, we are better than the Islamic radicals that want to radicalize India, that we are a nation that was supreme, that we are a nation and a race of people that are intelligent, that are hardworking, and that are committed to our motherland, then no foreign power ever will be able to destroy us. And that is why we have to think of one India. And that is why companies, initiatives like yours, we need to pool all our resources together, make more Indic publishers, make more Indic movie makers, make more Indic startups that focus on our people. Let the world know that India is rising, and India is rising quickly, India is rising firmly. That is why the West wants to ape us. That is why the Islamic radicals want to convert our people, because they know the power of the unity of the people of India. They tried it before. They will lose this time. You can take it from me in writing. Simple activities where Indians come together, irrespective of the religion, and they stand for the truth. India wins. India will always win. So all the cabals of the left, all those cabals in Bollywood that are under Dawood, all the cabals in any other business, including the startup that has Chinese investments in India. It is time for the Indian to back the Indians. It's as simple as that. It is time for companies like Reliance. It is time for big companies like Anand Mahindra's companies to back Indian startups, to back Indian entrepreneurs, to back Indian initiatives. Because at the end of the day, we need to create brand India. And that brand India is nothing but Bharat and Bharat Supreme. So the time we move towards Akhand Bharat, we start thinking as one Bharat. That is the time the change is imminent, and that change has already started. That is what India
Yes,
needs
it
to
has.
do.
Absolutely, it has. And I would request the viewers to keep shooting their questions because I'm going to ask one very, very probing questions, and after that, it will be over to you for question and answers. And I see that you haven't asked many questions, so please ask questions. Please also like, subscribe, and share. And if you feel like it, you may also like to contribute to Jaipur Dialogues. So, Savio, I saw you on the debate on the Republic. And I think it is but fitting that two industries, we just talked about the publishing industry meltdown, but the Bollywood also seems to be undergoing a meltdown, and all the sleaze is coming out into the open. So, what is your take on how Bollywood is going to cope up with this? Is there going to be a real kind of a reform there? Or you think that this is just a storm in the teacup and it will be business as usual after this?
You see, Sanjay, my personal opinion is Bollywood is mostly controlled by the mafia. A mafia that sits in Karachi, as we have known by the admission of Pakistan a few days ago. This is a very powerful lobby. This lobby is not easy to be dismantled or destabilized. But if we do it in a guerrilla style, if we are able to get Indian financiers, Indian companies to back good content, India centric content, India positive content, not movies such as Slumdog Millionaire who shows India in poor light, but the real content about India. There is so many good, there is good. Of course, there is bad. But the problem is we highlight more of the bad. Look at the recent series that are coming out. Just the other day, I saw an advertisement of a series that's coming out on one of the platforms called Ashram. Okay, in which this failed actor Bobby Deol is acting in it. Okay, and he's playing this guru. Again, the focus is to target Sanatan Dharma, Hindu beliefs. Now, would anybody in Bollywood have the courage to make a movie that questions any other religion? They don't, because the financing comes from that main religion. Do they question Islamic radicals? They don't. They make movies of terrorists, but they show the terrorist as somebody who has been offended. That's why he becomes a terrorist. So they don't show the real brainwashing of the mind. There is always a sympathetic angle. How many films has Ram Gopal Varma made in which Dawood is shown as the person who has been wronged? Or Dawood being shown as the savior of young Muslim boys and young Indian towards the mafia? How many movies have been made by Ram Gopal Varma? And today Ram Gopal Varma wants to make a movie on Arnab Goswami, the prostitute. That's the kind of caliber Ram Gopal Varma is. I think his arg hasn't gotten over him yet. The point is, can we crush Bollywood? Yes, we can. Will we crush Bollywood? Yes, we will. It will take time, but it will happen.
I think this particular instance, the way it was taken up by the media, especially Republican, Arnab Goswami, and many others, I think this must have shaken the Bollywood mafia to the core, the Bollywood godfathers. I don't know whether you saw Kangana's revelations today. This is
Yes, I
something
did.
that's always been known, but it's never come out in the open. Nobody had the courage to speak about it openly. Today, it's out in the open. People are now getting that courage. They're getting bold enough to understand that probably the mafia is running for cover. So they are coming out. And they're revealing all.
Correct. And let's be clear, doubt controls Bollywood. That is why you have these shows in Dubai. That is why you have these multi-millionaire stars who control outcomes of cases, even though the cases happen in Dubai. That's the truth. Bollywood is a mafia. You will have money laundering. You will have people like Farhan Akhtar connected to Stand with Kashmir, which is linked to terrorist group. You will have people that are there connected to the drug mafia. Is that a surprise? That is not a surprise. It is what they stand for. They need the drugs. They need the money laundering. That's how they operate. It takes courage of one government to set this right, not government wanting to have their photos clicked with film stars. The icon of today, Sanjay, are film stars, not the real India, not the men and women sacrificing their lives for India. I don't care who's an Alia Bhatt. I don't care who's an Arjun Kapoor. To me, they're just actors. Anybody in that position could act well. What about our army personnel? What about our teachers? What about our doctors? What about our scientists? What about our inventors? Are they not icons enough for us? Why do we never go to them? What about our sports people? Who is Bollywood? What are they? It's a fantasy land. It's a la-la land. They are not icons. If at all, they are demons destroying the culture. India needs real icons. In politics, you have an icon called Rahul Gandhi, who's a 50-year-old youth. India does not require that kind of political icon. Neither do we require icons from Bollywood who are filled with nepotism. But yes, you do have people in Bollywood who are good. You did have an Irfan Khan that did very well for himself. You do have small time, but people coming from Bihar, like Sushant Singh Rajput, who actually went ahead and redefined the way a small town boy can come into Bollywood and actually make it big. And that was the threat. And that is why Sushant is where he is, and that is why he's got the love for people. That is why people are asking for a fight for his justice. Because it's the real India. The real India is not somebody like an Arjun Kapoor who is a horrible actor who gets opportunities after opportunities. There's another moron in Bollywood called Uday Chopra who acts in one movie repeatedly because he's only there to play that dumb role because he plays it so well. You know, that's Bollywood. So while Uday Chopra is good with Doom because of his character, there are much more talented people in India. So I think it's time for Indian nationalists to enter Bollywood. Change the name for all you care. It shouldn't be in Mumbai in the first place. Indian cinema is what we are talking about. And Indian cinema is all over India. It is not Bollywood. You see some of the movies in the South, they make exceptional movies. Exceptional. Bollywood is not even a patch to it. So Bollywood does not represent Indian cinema. It's time for Indian cinema to be represented in India and globally with nationalists investing into movies. That is when Bollywood will be crushed.
Yeah, yes, actually, if you look at the Bollywood and the aesthetics part, and you look at you mentioned the South Indian industry, the film industry, the South Indian directors, they have the feel for the Indian method of portraying art. They understand what is rasa, which
Correct.
is something that is, as a concept, is completely alien to Bollywood. So when you look at those movies, you look at a movie like Bahubali, which was made by South Indian directors, and then you look at the rasa that comes almost in every scene. There is something there. That aesthetics is interwoven into that form of art. Basically, cinema is an artistic form. These people have
Exactly.
reduced it to something very, very crude. And I
I
think
mean,
you're right. That scene that needs to be set right, absolutely.
you
And yes,
have
of course, I
item
cannot
girls.
leave you. Sorry.
You have item girls in Bollywood. Item girls. Okay, which every movie has. Not that I have a problem with what they do. I'm saying they are your icons. That they'll have reams of papers written about them. That this dancer is here, this dancer's gone there. There is a video put up. I mean, this country has got better icons. They have mothers who have sacrificed their sons in on the border. There are mothers who are fighting COVID, being doctors. These are the icons of real India, but nobody's got time for them. And I think it's time we give them their due. And Bollywood can be made to sleep. COVID is the best thing that could have happened to Bollywood. It's made it sleep.
Absolutely. And of course, I cannot let you go without talking about your favorite icon, the 50-year-old youth. How's he doing?
Well, I don't know how he's doing, but I'm pretty sure he'll get worried with all the cartels and the cabals linked to banned substances coming out. He'll get a little worried. So I think he might probably go on a trip, but who cares anyway? The 50-year-old youth icon right now and his mother are busy deciding whether they should give out a press conference on they are leaving the party and then deciding together that I should come back into the party. So that comedy show will continue. Rahul Gandhi is a comedian. I enjoy his comedy. I think he's one of the best product to come out of India in recent time as far as comedy is concerned. And I think we should actually continue to have live TV show on him, which will actually become bigger hit than the Slumdog Millionaire movie, and even actually win an Oscar. That is the caliber of Rahul Gandhi. He is exceptionally good and natural at comedy. So my advice to Rahul Gandhi is drop politics, my friend. You continue to do what you want. We'll run a live TV program of you like they did one time with this in a movie where Jim Carrey was acting. We could actually do that with you, and it would turn into a global phenomenon. It will reshape Indians' economy. It will reshape the economy of the world because he's just too good.
I
And
think
I
his
mean it
strength
in a
is
good
that
way.
I think he's probably the first comedian I know who acts very seriously, and it turns out to be comedy.
The Truman Show, which Jim Carrey acted in. I'm telling you, I love Rahul Gandhi because he provides the much needed entertainment in an otherwise very serious political discourse that happens in the country with lots of noise, lots of screaming on the television channel. Rahul Gandhi brings that much needed comfort. I think he is the modern day Truman Show, and his show must be global. You know, hats off to that man. He's got incredible comedy timing.
Yeah, so somebody needs to invest in a movie. That's very well. Now let's move to question and answers.
I'm most ready.
Right now we have only three questions. Folks, you have very little time. If you want to shoot more questions, it's not easy always to get Savio here. So three questions do not really do justice to his reputation. So please shoot more. So the first question, can we say Indian leftists sepoys have become so powerless and hopeless that they need their Western aka to defend them?
I don't think they're powerless. I think they're a well orchestrated network of social media as well as offline warriors that have got you know, their way of working very methodical and very well oiled. So when they want to take on an establishment that is very India centric. They create the shenanigans that is required for it. Should we break it? I think that is happening. I think they're breaking down. That is why they are relying a lot on the international support to actually make noise. You see, like the anti-CAA riots, it was absolute humbug, and they got people to jump in. That is what they're doing to the Bloomsbury India issue as well. They're getting foreign journalists to write about it. The Delhi riots 2020 book was not taken forward by Bloomsbury, so Bloomsbury is being attacked. That's normal drama. I think as Indians we're used to watching these kind of dramas. We should not bother about it. Our Indian centric people are far more stronger. Let's think positive. Let's work towards creating our brands, our publishers, our movie makers, our companies, and let them fall by the wayside. We have to allow them to do that. They will fall. They are falling. Let's think positive. Let's move forward.
Yes. Let's think positive. We have the possibility or the potential of the best comedy show in the world. So let's focus on that and ignore these people. What do you say?
Correct. I agree.
Okay, next question, please. Skin lightening cream ads are demoralizing to the majority of Indians who are dark skinned. Any way of banning such ads on Indian TV? This is Anita.
Anita, you have probably asked one of the most important questions of that the country needs to answer. Should we ban ads that promote whiteness, promote fairness? I think we should. That's my answer. Now let me give you an irony in Bollywood. There was this movie in which Ayushmann Khurrana has acted, Yamini Gautam has acted, and Bhumi Pednekar has acted. I think it was called Bala, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a movie about accepting yourself the way you are. White, black, bald, fat, thin. Bala was a character who was bald and he had no hair, right? But here's the irony. Yamini Gautam, in that movie, who's promoting the idea of accepting yourself the way you are, and though she plays quite an interesting role, she's actually somebody who promotes fairness skin creams, number one. Then you had Bhumi Pednekar, who's actually brown in skin, very beautiful actress. They make her black. Like there are no other dark skin actresses in India to promote dark skin. You take a white skin person and you make a brown skin person and you make her even more dark, so that she learns to accept that she is dark, but she's a better actress who's a brown skin actress. You made dark. The same they did to Hrithik Roshan in that movie Super 30. He's a dark skinned man with cat eyes, which is what is natural to him, right? So the point is, do we need to ban fairness creams? Yes. I think it's a ridiculous notion to tell people that because you are fair, you are superior to the other person. I mean, who decides that? You, the white side, who came here, who was fair, the Mughals who were slightly fair, they decide that Indian dark skin is not good enough. I'm a dark skinned guy and I love myself. I don't think you need to be white for anybody. I think you need to love and accept yourself for what you are. So please ban fairness creams, is my opinion, and we should work on that.
Okay, good. There's a very bold and clear stand, exactly like Savio. And Shubham Singh is asking, please make a video on some of the best books on India. I don't know whether he's asking me or he's asking you.
But I think anybody who wants to do it, I think we should do it.
I think it's a good idea. We appreciate the suggestion. We definitely will try and do something about it. Next question. This is a gentleman with the pseudonym of Clint Eastwood. Why don't you keep an Indian pseudonym, man? Why our education system is stiff, take decades to change, not flexible, that change time to time depending upon desh kal paristhiti for public interest?
Well, again, that's a good question. Do our education system needs to change? Yes, it requires a little bit of, definitely requires, not a little bit, but a radical change. Our history is a history which the British left us with, and we are continuing. Our laws are also what the British left us with, right? So we haven't assimilated culture, history, and Sanatan Dharma thought into the ways our education system works, into the way our legal system works, into a way our cultural way forward works. So yes, I think education is very important. I think we need to work on that. I don't know how much the government is working on it, but the Macaulay system of education needs to have an overhaul, if I had to give it in one straight line.
Yes, that was a good question. And I may just suggest that I have already done 4 talks on the new education policy. And you may like to have, including today's talk with V. Vijay Lakshmi. That was an eye opener, and that lady is a phenomenon. Absolutely. If you get a chance, Savio, have a look at
I
it.
will have a look. Yes, I will.
Souvik Parial. Yeah. I don't know whether it pronounces Shauvik or it is Souvik. I think it is Shauvik only. Manipur, once a Vaishnavite kingdom, is now full of converted radical Christians who hate anything related to Indic Hindu culture. Role of church here.
Well, let's look at church for what it really is. Church is not only the Catholic Church, but in India right now, there is a phenomenon that I've spoken about before. And this phenomenon has very little to actually do with the Catholic Church. Over the years, the Catholic Church has kind of simmered down as far as conversions are concerned. But there's this new group, which are the newer Christians, the believers, the church planters. There is a phenomenon called church planting. Most of these evangelicals coming from the US, coming from UK, some coming from Germany, but mostly from the US and the UK. They've got a phenomenon called church planting. So wherever they go, whether it is in Manipur, whether it's in Andhra Pradesh, whether it's in Kerala, whether it's in Goa, whether it's in Mumbai, they have got a target to plant churches in India. What do I mean by a church? A church can be in a small house. A church can be an actual structure, a physical structure of a church, or a church can be in a hall. Church planting is actually an expose we had done on Goa Chronicle, where they actually take money from the US and from donors internationally, telling them that our work is to plant churches in India. So it's a term. It's like planting a seed, right? They have money which they are paid to come into India and plant a church. Is the government doing something about it? I really don't know. I think the government needs to get a little strict on that, and that will happen with stricter laws. And until you make stricter laws on conversions, stricter laws on demonizing other people's religion, because at the end of the day, that's what they do. There was a gentleman who asked me once, when I was sitting in some place, have you found Jesus? So I looked at him. This is the most ridiculous question somebody's ever asked me. Have you found Jesus? I looked at him and I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. You could not even hold on to Jesus. That you're asking me whether I found him. Did you lose him? I mean, this is irresponsible of you. Please go and find him. He obviously didn't know what to say. And he left the discussion probably abusing me, but I just thought it was ridiculous. What do you mean, have you found Jesus? I mean, did he get lost? Maybe you lost him,
Anyway, that is a topic by itself. the evangelical depredations, I think that is a topic by itself, and probably we might devote one full episode to it one day. And let's take the next question. Varun Jual, Savio sir, are indigenous media channels have ability to compete with CNN and Al Jazeera? I think
Good
that's a
question.
question.
In content, yes. In quality, yes. In reach, it will take us some time, but we are expediting that process. You see, it will only happen if more people who want to put a lot of money into big television channels support small media groups, so that that kind of journalism actually reaches out to a wider audience globally. So in my opinion, it is going to take time. There's a lot of money required. But you know what? Media is a very simple business. As long as there are numbers who support a media company, that media company is going to grow. That numbers could be through subscribers. That numbers could be through advertisers. That numbers could be people who actually donate or finance those products to grow. If that's not going to happen, then you can't blame the growth of Indian channels. People with loaded money, with cabals protecting them, will of course control the roost. But with social media, with new age journalism, and with the online platforms that you have today, I think we are making a dent. Today, a small product like mine out of Goa, the Goa Chronicle, raised 5 crores for 5% equity into Goa Chronicle by people who believed in our kind of journalism, not our business model, thereby giving us a net value for 100 crore valuation for a small media product has been around for 10 years. And that has come because of our kind of journalists. So I'm sure Swaraja, Op India, and many, many other online publications or even television channels that actually reach out to a wide audience of people, have the caliber to give good content, to give truthful news to the people. And people will support. But the choice is the people. The advertising is the people.
That's right. Okay, next question. DPS Jadon. Murder of Gulshan Kumar dumped the Bhakti Ras from Bollywood. After that, only Maula Mere Maula prevailed. He was killed for jihad, not for extortion. Question mark.
Are you asking me whether that's the question? He was killed for jihad?
I guess so, because there's a question mark in the end.
Well, let me come back to the most important aspect of Bollywood. Bollywood, like I said before, is controlled by Dawood. Dawood controls Bollywood. Dawood was allowed to control Bollywood. Dawood was allowed to do that because of political patronage. We all know the politicians in Mumbai who did not allow Ajit Doval to arrest Dawood when he wanted to surrender. It's a known fact. There's no need for me to take it out in open. But the power that is around, when I mean power, I'm talking about power of certain people with similar sounding names, they should answer to the people of India what truly transpired between the connections with Dawood and Bollywood. So yes, I'm not surprised. It is the fact.
Okay. Yeah, it is a fact. I think he was popularizing the bhajans and the bhakti ras too much. So that didn't go down well with certain people. Ritesh is asking this question. Why do you think BJP spokespersons are not giving interviews in foreign media, which are right-wing channels like Fox News?
I really can't answer that because that's really BJP's problem. But I would ask you to direct that question to a very eloquent BJP spokesperson, Sambit Patra, and I'm sure he will very eloquently reply back to you because I really don't know why BJP does not. And I'm not really here to speak on their behalf. I'm sure Sambit Patra can do that. But it's a good question. I think they should. They should reach out to many foreign
Yes,
channels
they
to put
should.
our version.
They should.
But
And
why they are not doing it is best answered by them. If I had an opportunity, I would tell the world what I think about India and what I think about the West.
Right. Next question, please. Harry Kesu, how to cause loss to anti-India movies released on OTT? I don't
It,
understand the question really.
it's basically
Can you?
how do you cause a loss to anti-India movies released on OTT? That's
Oh,
the
okay.
online. Well, very simply, don't watch it. The more the Indians boycott it and don't watch it, the more the numbers come down. And watch pro-India movies. You see, at the end of the day, an OTT movie is based on whether you follow an Amazon Prime or you follow a Netflix or a Z5 or any of the channels available, the OTT platforms available, right? If you find that they have content that is anti-India, stop watching it. It's as simple as that. That's how your contribution works. And if you can get 10 more people or 100 more people not to watch it, then you've created a movement.
I think that's happening a good deal these days.
Correct.
Yogesh Soman, what about Congress CCP case? That's
Oh,
your case.
that's a lovely question. Okay. What has happened is uh, about 10 days ago, as soon as we got the advice from the Supreme Court to approach the High Court first instead of putting an amended petition, we have filed a petition with the NIA directly and with a note to even the NSA, and we've listed out and provided evidences which prove, not by my own work, but by foreign intelligence agencies that have categorized the International Liaison Department of the Communist Party of China as a covert foreign intelligence arm of China. Now I have left that entire data with the NIA and Mr. Ajit Doval's office. I pray and I hope that sometime soon some action will be taken. However, if that action doesn't happen, or if it happens, it does not bother me because by next week we are definitely going to the High Court. The only reason why I'm not saying which High Court we are going to is because I want to leave it as a surprise. Because
Okay.
people are assuming which High Court I will go to, saying he will go to Mumbai, probably he will go to the Goa bench in the Mumbai bench in Goa. I will just choose the High Court, which I think has some of the most intelligent legal people who can understand our case, because our case is a very interesting case, Sanjay. It is a case which dwells on a very simple fact that the Congress signed a pact in 2008, which Sonia Gandhi herself admitted, and I put that interview out of Jin Zhao on the Goa Chronicle. And that department is a foreign covert intelligence unit. I put out a CIA report. I put out a Czech Republic report. All of them say that this is a foreign covert intelligence unit. And you know what their main role is? Their main role is to corrupt young political leaders of the future. Do you know who signed that document?
You
The
know,
50-year-old youth icon of India,
he was
Mr.
only
Rahul
40
Gandhi.
at that time.
And he
You,
was
you
40 at
don't,
that time. Yeah.
probably
He
less
was
than
40.
40.
So
Uh,
that is one case. Like all my cases, I will write to the end because I want to know what is in that document. I have a right as a citizen and as a journalist to know what is in that document signed by Rahul Gandhi and Wang Jiru of the International Liaison Department of Communist Party of China. India needs to know. And we will get this out.
is it that you already have the document, but you only want an official copy?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay, so let me leave it at that because I think you're becoming a bit tight-lipped. Unlike your normal behavior, you're becoming very
I
tight-lipped here.
know. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I believe intrinsically what happened was intentionally or unintentionally, because I haven't arrived at that conclusion yet. But Rahul Gandhi, in the presence of Sonia Gandhi, in the presence of Anand Sharma, and in the presence of the Indian ambassador to China at that time, sold out India's interest to China. Let me say it very clearly again. Rahul Gandhi, in the presence of Sonia Gandhi, in the presence of Anand Sharma, in the presence of the ambassador of Indian ambassador to China at that time, sold out India's interest by signing this document. Whether they did it intentionally or not, I have not arrived at that conclusion. But these party-to-party exchanges that they are under the guise of ILD is a covert intelligence unit of foreign intelligence for China. It was under the PLA before, then they made it look a little nice and brought it into the Communist Party, which means it is military intelligence in a nutshell.
And that's the sort of thing that our agencies are supposed to know.
Well, the agencies were very surprised with the report that I presented.
Okay.
They were wondering how I got the Czech Republic 2015 statement on the ILD. We had actually picked up an intelligence report. We picked up the intelligence report from Stratfor, which was leaked out by WikiLeaks, the global intelligence files. I searched and the team ravaged through so many documents because I knew it existed. There's always a footprint.
Okay. So let's go to the final question today. Nagaland NSCN wanted separate constitution and flag in the Naga Peace Accord. What's your take on it?
Okay, I believe not every person in Nagaland wants that. Okay, that's my personal view. Of course, there are certain people in the country in different states, including Goa, that might want to have something separate and say, we were a Portuguese colony and maybe we should be with Portugal. There are some crackpots like that as well. Okay. I'm sorry to use the word crackpots, but to me, you are neither here nor there. You just float in the air. So you're inconsequence. Because India is going to remain, Goa is going to remain a part of India, Nagaland is going to remain a part of India, Tamil Nadu is going to be a part of India. It's never going to go separate. So why even waste our time talking about it? You can have those feelings. It's wonderful. It's great to be different. Whether it will be effective, I don't think so.
Okay, so on that note, I think we can close this program. And as ever, frank and forthright, Savio, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay. My pleasure.
And
God bless you.
Long live freedom of expression.
Akhand Bharat.
Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram.